Whew. Man, I am so ready for this 2025 season to be done. And it seems like the Rangers offense is too.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are locked onto the Texas Rangers, the first and best daily Rangers podcast. I'm Bryce Patrick, a cripplingly addicted Texas Rangers fan, covering this team for 12 seasons, including all 7 as the founder and host of this podcast. Thank you all so much for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. If you're not already, you can follow me on Twitter at Bryce Patrick. You can follow the show at Locked On Rangers. Hit subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and on YouTube, where the best way you can help grow the show is to comment nearly any single thing below. Now, on today's show, we're talking about Tyler Mahle's last start of the season, why it might or might not be his last start as a Texas Ranger, maybe the worst offensive series I've ever seen, and have we seen the last of Adolis Garcia as a Texas Ranger at Globe Life Field? Before we get into all of that, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the FanDuel app today. Now, this was Tyler Mahle's final start of the season, and fittingly for this 2025 Texas Rangers team, it was a gem and had absolutely zero run support behind it. Just zero. Nada, zilch, which was basically the amount of offense coming from this Rangers squad for not the entirety of this series, but it felt like the entirety of this series. Somehow, miraculously, they got 4 runs on Tuesday, and then were shut out in the finale. And it's so bad to the point where I don't know if this Texas Rangers squad is going to score a single run from now until the end of this season. Heck, I don't know if they're going to score another run until April, which is wild because they've got several games in March of next year. So it might just be that bad. But let's see. 4 games? Yeah, 4 games in March of next year. But this was still a dazzling gem from Tyler Mahle, which is what we've come to expect from him this year. I mean, truly a phenomenal season in his second season, first full, in very hard air quotation marks, season as a member of the Texas Rangers. I mean, last year, still coming back, rehabbing from that Tommy John surgery that he had in 2023, made 3 starts last year and had just barely an ERA under 5 at 4.97. And after those 3 starts, shoulder soreness shelved him for the rest of that season. Would have made maybe 1 or 2 more starts. So not all that much time missed. But this year, he made 14 starts and looked incredible. I mean, truly exceptional this year. Then on June 10th, he was placed on the IL with shoulder soreness, which has been rotator cuff soreness, which left him out for 3 months, which is basically half the season. So he finishes the year with 16 starts, 86 and 2/3 innings, just 66 strikeouts with 3 walks per 9 innings, half a homer per 9, 6.9 Ks per 9, and a 2.18 ERA in one of the most intriguing seasons by, I think, almost any Texas Rangers pitcher, because by the metrics, by the actual performance, he was great. He was downright awesome. And outside of, one bad month, which I think is when he was dealing with the injury before he got placed on the IL, I mean, in basically every start, he was awesome, or at least good enough. I mean, there are basically 3 starts this year where he was, pretty much bad. There's 5 1/3 innings against Tampa Bay on June 3rd, where he allowed 4 runs, and several of those were given up as inherited runners and probably shouldn't have scored. Then against Minnesota in a game where the Rangers dropped several runs, he was not able to go deeper into that game, just pitching a lot more aggressively, allowed 4 runs and 5 2/3 innings. And then that was his last start before he was placed on the IL. And then that first start of the year where he didn't make it through 2 innings, but still only allowed 1 run. And the Rangers ended up still winning that game against the Boston Red Sox. And outside of that, he was awesome. I mean, in the month of April, he made 5 starts with a sub-1 ERA, a .90. Let me say that again, a 0.90 ERA, just 3 earned runs in 30 innings. He was awesome in that month. And then in 6 starts in May, he was awesome yet again. I mean, only 8 earned runs in 34 innings there, a 2.10 ERA in the month of May. Comes back in June, a 6.5 ERA in those 2 starts where he wasn't great. And then finishes the year 2 starts, 9 2/3 innings, only one earned run, which came off of a solo shot by Byron Buxton, who just terrorized the Rangers in this series with 3 home runs this year. I mean, truly an awesome season for Byron Buxton, who is just an incredible player. But a .93 ERA in the month of September in 2 starts there. So a 2.12, 2.18 ERA in 16 starts this year. Not a whole lot of innings pitched, basically half a season's worth of starts at least. And had he made, 32 starts, about, normal workload, it would have been at about 172, a little bit shy of 175 innings on the year. I don't know that he would have kept up the 2.18 ERA because the peripherals behind it are not particularly pretty. I mean, you look at his baseball savant page and, the pitching, not the pitch value, but just the pitching, there's nothing that's in the bright red. I mean, the best slider that he's got on here is at the 75th percentile, top 25, top quarter baseball of hard hit rate. And then the average exit velo is, in the 68th percentile. His extensions in the top half of baseball. Barrel rates in the top half of baseball, just barely. But that's it. I mean, the walk rate, the ground ball rate's not great. The chase rate's, a little bit below average. The whiff rate's not great. The strikeout rate's not great. Fastball velocity, expected ERA, expected batting average. The expected ERA is more than just about double what his actual ERA was. But you don't get runs on the scoreboard by expected ERA. And we know that, or expected batting average, or expected slugging percentage. We know that by the Rangers offense and what they did all season long. But he has just been awesome this year. And he's also been not very durable this year and for his career. So it makes me speculate about what would a contract even look like for Tyler Mahle this offseason. I mean, the Rangers got him on a pretty friendly deal for a couple of years, knowing that, the first year he would not be pitching all that much. And so it'd be, pretty much prorated that he would be making a lot more money in that first year than he'd be, worth. But they'd also be underpaying him pretty significantly in the second year. And, he had a 2-WAR season this year, despite making, only half of his starts. And of course he gets tagged with the loss, going 5 innings of 1-run baseball in this one. The only run that he gave up was that solo shot to Byron Buxton to lead off this game, just like Byron Buxton led off the game before. But only 5 hits on the day, only 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. And he looked awesome. I mean, the splitter was great. The fastball was great. The cutter was pretty good. The slider was good enough whenever he used it. And this is just another case of the Rangers offense completely letting him down. Actually, excuse me. He did not even use the slider in this one. The cutter looked occasionally like a slider, but this was just another great start by Tyler Mahle. And the Rangers, they'll have some questions with their rotation and with durability next year, mainly just durability. Because, I mean, Nathan Eovaldi's amazing when he's healthy. How many innings can you count on him for next year? Jacob deGrom, I count on him for 30 starts next year. I think he's going to do it again, and I think he's going to throw more innings. I think there's going to be less of a workload restriction, and I think we're going to see more of Jack Leiter next year. And just in terms of starts, in terms of length in those starts, I don't think we're going to see as many blow-up starts from Jack Leiter next year. But just adding that one more veteran guy in this rotation, whether Mahle ends up being your 4 towards the end of the season and Jack Leiter surpasses him, or whether he's your 3 in a postseason series, if the Rangers somehow had made the postseason this year and you're slotting in Tyler Mahle as your 3 or 4 starter, had the Rangers been fully healthy, he might have been their 4 or 5 starter. I mean, depending on how things went. But this is a really darn good pitcher and a really darn good year. I really wish we could have seen him be healthier for the duration of this season. But alas, that's not what we got from Tyler Mahle. We did not get exactly what we wanted from Tyler Mahle for the duration of the season. And but in this one, he was pretty darn good. I cannot say the same about this offense in what was, I think, maybe the worst offensive series I have ever seen from a Texas Rangers squad. We're going to talk about that, and if Adolis Garcia's time with the Texas Rangers is almost at an end right after this. This show is brought to you by Rugiet. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis, or maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Go Long. That's exactly where it comes in. It's not just another ED pill. It's a total game changer for confidence. Go Long combines 2 doctor-trusted medications in one dual-action formula. so you can go the distance. The effects last up to 36 hours. That's confidence all day, all night, and even into the next day. The process is simple. Connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online, and if prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly right to your door. Ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Head to rugiet.com and use promo code LOCKEDONMLB for 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Make sure to use our code so they know we sent you. Shout out to the everydayers making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. On Monday's show, I'll be back and talking about the end of this brutal season. Yes, dear friends, we have almost made it to the end of the season. This is the final episode I will be recording while the regular season is still going on. So catch me wrapping up this poop show of season on Monday. Who knows? Maybe there'll even be some fun moments to talk about from this weekend, and maybe a certain team that we all hate missing the postseason entirely. That would be the one nice thing that happens at the end of this season. But what was not nice was this offense. I mean, what more is there to say about this offense? I can tell you there is nothing more to say about this offense. There has been nothing more to say about this offense. I have been flabbergasted and lost for words for how to describe how bad this offense is since May of this year. And we are now nearly 5 months removed from that. And I'm still flabbergasted at the level of incompetence from this offense. And this series just took it to a whole new level. Against starting pitchers that all had ERAs above 5, the Rangers got obliterated. Yes, they were able to win on Tuesday. Yes, they were able to avoid the embarrassment of a sweep. But they were still embarrassed by a bunch of not very good starting pitchers. Sure, they've got good stuff. Sure, they're major leaguers, and occasionally on their day, they can have a good day. I do not care. I do not care. I am done making excuses for this team. Nobody should be making excuses for this offense anymore. It's bad. It's not major league quality. Zebby Matthews, a guy with a 5.5 ERA, 7 innings of 1-run ball. The only run that he allowed was a solo shot by Jock Peterson, which felt like a miracle with how bad he's been over the last couple of weeks, how bad his whole offense has been. He went just that 3 hits after that, didn't walk anybody, struck out 6 in 7 innings, which he had not gone in basically the entirety of this season. Taj Bradley, another guy with an ERA north of 5. The Rangers got a solo homer off of him. That was the 1 run. They got 1 other hit, 2 walks, and they struck out 9 times. 9 times in 6 innings against him. And then Bailey Ober, who's also got an ERA north of 5. It's a lot lower after what he did to the Rangers. He went 6 innings, allowed 2 hits, 1 walk, and just 1 over the minimum. That walk was the only base runner that he left stranded because either they were erased on a double play, one by Jock Peterson, or they were erased on a different type of double play, a strike him out, throw him out double play by Alejandro Ozuna, who was caught stealing. And he faced 1 over the minimum in 6 innings and struck out 5. A guy who is not a strikeout pitcher by any means. A guy with an ERA north of 5 went 6 innings with 1 batter above the minimum, and he could have gone 7 or 8. Heck, he maybe could have finished off the complete game shutout in this one because he's only at 78 pitches through 6 innings. But he said, let's let the bullpen just go ahead and take this one from now until the finish line. The Rangers were able to get 1 more base runner, just a single off of Ole, who had a 5.5 ERA. Just the nice little nail in the coffin there for this Rangers squad that just could not do much of anything. But, shout out to Jacob Webb, shout out to Hobie Milner for ending his home season at least on a high note. Chris Martin did not do the same. I mean, he allowed 5 hits, only got a couple of outs, one of them on the strikeout, and 3 runs, all of them on a 3-run homer by Byron Buxton, who is just the freaking Ranger killer. I mean, he's an everyone killer this year. It's such a bummer that they could not build a winning team around Byron Buxton, who drives in all 4 of the Twins' runs in this finale, all of them coming off of home runs, one of them to start the game, one of them to all but finish off this game. And just the amount of horrendous, lifeless, hapless at bats in this series is just a poop turd on top of the poop Sunday that has been this offense all season long. Well, not all season long, because they had a nice little stretch there in, October. No, they're going to have a nice stretch of sitting on a beach in October, but in the early parts of September and parts of August and parts of July and heck, even in parts of June. I mean, the amount of runs overall that this team scored is pretty impressive. I mean, it's in the top 10 of Major League Baseball. It's not in the bottom half. Their OPS as a team is pretty darn low. Their ability to hit in clutch situations, their ability to, sparse out the runs evenly. Heck, if you didn't have so many blowouts, you just, take some of those games where you scored 16 runs and, take 5 off of there and put them in a game against the Astros, put them in a game against the Mariners, but take 5 or heck, even 10 of those runs when you drop the 20 bomb on the Angels, disperse them out a little more evenly, and maybe the season goes completely differently. I don't know. If they could just, as they said on the broadcast, allocate their runs just a little bit better, a little bit more evenly throughout this season. Maybe we're talking about a different year. Maybe we're talking about a different Texas Rangers squad. Maybe we're talking about the return of Corey Seager. Maybe we're looking at the return of Sam Haggerty at some point. Maybe we're looking at the return of Marcus Semien here. Maybe we're even looking forward to maybe an ALDS where we start to see Nathan Eovaldi again. I don't know. But that's not the year that this team had. That is not the season that we saw in 2025. That is not the end of this season. That once it was slightly gone, it was all gone. This team has 80 wins on the year, and this is the second best team that I've ever covered in 7 years of doing this podcast. 80 wins. They don't even have a winning record. They could still have a losing record, and I think they will. Like, truly, I don't think they're going to get to 500. I don't think they're going to get a win off the Cleveland Guardians, because the Cleveland Guardians are pitching their butts off right now. I mean, they are pitching incredibly well. I mean, their starting pitching has been truly phenomenal. I mean, 2, 1, 0 runs, basically every time out in the month of September. They have just been unhittable, their starting pitching. And that's against good offenses that have, major league quality baseball players. And right now, the Texas Rangers just don't. I mean, they just don't at this moment. When your offense is, Jock Peterson, who's got an OPS that might finish above 600 on the year. You got Josh Smith, who's 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts and some pretty bad at-bats. I hope that he's able to just take Josh Smith. Your wife is on the verge of having a kid. Just go home. Be a family man. Don't travel to Cleveland to go play 3 meaningless games. Just go be with your family, my man. Go be a dad. Go get away from this Texas Rangers baseball team in 2025. I mean, the at-bat quality from Rowdy Tellez has been tough. I mean, Jake Berger coming in and pinch hitting, and he strikes out in his first at-bat. And Kyle Higashioka 0 for 3 with 2 strikeout day. It's bad up and down this lineup. You look up and down this lineup at the OPS numbers. I mean, leading off, 608. 701, 599, 680, 704, 689, 567, 696, 594, 578, 772, which is Michael Hellman, which has dropped off about 140 points in the last 10 games. And then Adolis Garcia, 661. You know how many guys at OPS north of 700? 700. Just a bare minimum for just an okay, competent offensive player. There's Josh Smith. There's Rowdy Tellez. There's Michael Hellman. That's it. That's 3 guys in your lineup. That's even including the 3 different pinch hitters. 3 out of 12, 25% of your lineup has an OPS north of 700. How do you do that? How are you fielding a major league team with OPSs that bad? And that's not even counting how many guys are below 600. Cody Freeman, Alejandro Ozuna, Billy McKinney, Ezekiel Duran. That's 4 guys. You have more guys with an OPS below 600 than you have above 700 in your lineup. That's horrifying. That's terrible. That makes me want to say sim to end of season. And thank God we only have 1 weekend left of watching this maddening, frustrating, horrifyingly bad Texas Rangers offense, because they are not going to October. And a guy who has thrived in October, who might never get a chance to thrive in October again, is Adolis Garcia. Is his time with the Texas Rangers done? Yesterday, I said no. Now, I'm thinking maybe, just maybe. This show is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. There are all kinds of different ways to get in on the action right now. Let's look at some sports that are not Major League Baseball, because this Texas Rangers squad, they are not doing a whole lot right now. Let's look at the NHL. Let's look at the Stanley Cup. Who is the favorite to win the Stanley Cup in 2025-2026? It's the Edmonton Oilers, and then right there in second place is your Dallas Stars at plus 850 to win the cup. And in third place, it is the Carolina Hurricanes at plus 900. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Shout out to the everydayers making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. After every single game, Jeff Biggs is with you with the Locked On Rangers postcast. I joined live on Tuesday's game after what might be the final win of this Texas Rangers season. But Jeff Biggs will be reacting live to all count them, 3 games that are left this season. So go enjoy that. Be a part of the RCC, the Rangers comment crew. Join in. Commiserate about what has been a truly ugly season and savor the last moments of baseball with Jeff Biggs and the Locked On Rangers podcast, live in your Locked On Rangers podcast feeds on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Now, I joined Jeff Biggs on the Locked On Rangers podcast on Tuesday after the game, and there were a couple of fans asking if Adolis Garcia was done. Jeff Biggs was listening to a radio interview with Bruce Bochy, who seemed to indicate that Adolis Garcia might be gone after this year. And my first instinct was just to say, okay, well, it's just radio guys. What do the radio guys know about, B-War and actual baseball and, Adolis Garcia's actual value as a player and as an emotional leader on this team? But Bruce Bochy seemingly indicating that, maybe Adolis Garcia is on his way out. Now, he's been playing through a quad injury. He definitely got activated off the injured list, I think, well before that injury was fully healed or even healed enough to really be at a full go on the diamond or even in the box, especially in the box. I mean, his at-bats have been not great. He did have a clutch RBI against the Astros to, kind of close that gap and make it just a little bit closer. But, it's been tough to watch. He has not been starting any baseball games despite his defensive value this year. I mean, he has been a Gold Glove caliber defender in right field. He has been one of the best defenders in all of baseball, not just right fielders in the American League, not just outfielders in the American League, not just outfielders in Major League Baseball or right fielders in Major League Baseball. He has been one of the best defenders in all of baseball this year by defensive run saves. I mean, truly one of the top 3 guys defensively in all of Major League Baseball. And he's only played 133 games this year. They could have played a lot more, but he has been excellent defensively when he's been out there. Offensively, not so much. Not so much this year. He is not going to get 20 home runs unless he starts one of the final 3 games and by a miracle gets multiple home runs. He's got 18 for the year. That would be a career low for him, a career low 660 OPS. The on base is at 270. He's slugging below 400. I mean, it has just been a bad offensive year. He's been 9% worse than league average, even league average. Still a 2.5 WAR player because he's been so darn good defensively. He's been much better on the base pass this year, 13 stolen bases to just 4 times caught stealing. But it's been rough for him, and he got a chance to have a final at-bat, maybe his final at-bat as a Texas Ranger in Globe Life Field in the 9th inning of Wednesday's game. And that, plus Bruce Bochy's non-committal answer about will Adolis Garcia be back next year, makes me think, I don't know. I don't know at this point. Getting that kind of an acknowledgement and Jamie Newberg tweeting like, oh, he knew that this is his last at-bat as a member of the Texas Rangers at home, plus the broadcast showing the walk-off homer of Game 1 of the World Series right before that at-bat, that all of that makes me read between the lines and think, maybe he is done. maybe that was the last time that we get to see Adolis Garcia in a Rangers uniform at Globe Life Field. Maybe that's it. And, it wasn't a great plate appearance. I was proud of him because there were a couple of splitters that were in the dirt by Sands that normally you would see Adolis Garcia swinging out his shoes and taking and just striking out swinging, especially with 2 strikes. I really thought that 4th pitch of the at bat was going to be one that he just chased in the dirt. He does still strike out with the curveball, just right in the middle of the zone, the exact most hittable type of pitch for Adolis Garcia, and he just takes it for a called strike 3 and the first out of that inning that would end up being the final inning of the Texas Rangers at home in 2025. And I don't know that Adolis Garcia is coming back. I lean more and more by the day towards no. I think that's probably going to be the case is no, because as good as he has been for the Texas Rangers, as great as he has been at times, as much as he's been an emotional leader, and as good as he's been, defensively this year, overall, not a great year. There were a whole lot more black holes on offense that were worse than him. I mean, Jock Peterson was horrendous basically all season long, and he didn't even play a defensive position. At least Adolis Garcia was providing value there. Jake Berger was, pretty good at first base, but when he was going terribly offensively, he was not providing a whole lot of value there. Same with, Josh Smith at times was at least providing some defensive value, but offensively fell off even harder than Adolis Garcia. But I don't know exactly what this is going to look like in the future. I mean, Adolis Garcia making $8.25 million this year. And I don't know if you know how arbitration works, but it does not go down. You do not go down from there. I mean, actually, he's making $10.5 million. I don't know why it was written as that. It counts as the luxury tax as $8.25 million, but he's not going to be making less next year. And it's possible this is his last year of arbitration in 2026. He's going to be 33 years old, which is not old. But one of the fears with Adolis Garcia is that because he is so reliant on athleticism, once that elite athleticism starts to go, the bat speed, the raw strength, even some of the speed, once that starts to go, he's going to fall off pretty darn quickly as a player. And I think we might be seeing that. I was fighting against it in 2024. I thought, okay, this is a bad year, especially once he started to look, right defensively. This year, the legs started to come back after that surgery he had after last year, where he was just slow and bad defensively out in the outfield and also bad at the plate. I thought this year, like, okay, all right, we're starting to see more like the Adolis Garcia that we know, more like the all-star, the multi-time all-star that we saw in 2023, in 2022, in 2021. He was just a good player all 3 of those years, and he was still a decent player last year. Not great, not awful, not good even, but decent. This year he's been, I'd say, good overall in terms of his value. Offensively, not so much, but on the base paths and defensively, he's providing a whole lot of value. And I think it's possible that the Rangers just say, this is too much. This is an area where we can improve our team, and we are going to try and do so. I don't know how much you can improve, though, because who else is playing in? That's the thing that always gets me when people are like, oh, cut this guy. Oh, cut Adolis. Cut Marcus Semien. Cut Corey Seager. This guy stinks. Cut Jacob DeGrom. He's so bad. He had one bad start. Let's cut him. You got to fill that position with a major leaguer. Somebody else is going to play. You don't just say, oh, we cut Adolis Garcia, so nobody's playing right field. There is no right field. It doesn't exist anymore. Somebody's got to step in and play that position. And internally, I don't know who's going to do that and to do that well, at least. I know who might do that. I don't know who would do that well. I mean, are you going to start Dustin Harris out there every day? You're going to start Michael Hellman, who has really, really fallen off in the last 2 weeks. You're going to trust that like 10-game stretch from Michael Hellman, a guy who 4 different major league organizations have said, yeah, we're fine just letting this guy go for almost nothing. I mean, Wyatt Langford's out there entrenched in left field. Evan Carter's going to be entrenched in center field. And what do you do in right? Do you go with Cody Freeman every day? I don't feel confident about that. I definitely don't feel confident about Alejandro Ozuna out there every day, especially when we saw in this series, he had several, or at least one at bat, where he had 3 straight fastballs in the zone just blown by him. They weren't, 98, 99, 100. They were just, 94 to 96. That's not a guy who I trust playing every day out there in right field. And you look at the guys who are going to be free agents this offseason in terms of outfielders. There's Cody Bellinger. I genuinely don't know if he's going to take that $25 million player option that he's got. I think it's possible, but he's going to get a lot of money. Are you going to put 33-year-old Kyle Schwarber out there in the outfield every day? That's something you could try. Kyle Tucker is going to get probably $400 million. I don't know that I trust him enough to give him I don't know that I trust many players to give them $400 million, especially with how he's been so up and down this year and how he missed so much time with injuries the last couple of years. I'm a little shaky on giving anybody $400 million unless they're Shohei Ohtani. And that just feels just a little terrifying to me. And outside of that, I mean, who else is there? I mean, Trent Grisham, I think is going to be a really, really interesting free agent. It would make the Rangers even more left-hand heavy, but he's an incredible defensive center fielder, and he also had his best power season by far this year. And he's awesome. I don't know if you want to go with Ryan O'Hearn. He's 32 years old. It starts getting really, really slim once you cut off the top guys. I mean, Bellinger, Schwarber, Tucker, and then Trent Grisham. That's about it. Maybe you want to give Lane Thomas a shot out there. There's really not all that much out there. I mean, there's not a whole lot of guys. That's just all outfield, not just center field, not just right field. That's all the outfielders. And I don't know how much of an upgrade that you can get out there. I don't know how much arbitration is going to cost for the Adolis Garcia. I wouldn't be surprised if he just breaks that 25-year streak. I guess it'll be 26-year streak the Rangers have of not going to arbitration this offseason. It's just a dicey situation. You've got maybe the Rangers go and make a trade for another player, but I'm not sure that I really trust their player scout, their major league scouts, professional scouts to scout hitters. Because look at the guys who they brought in, or at least two of the guys, the biggest guys they brought in, literally the biggest guys that they brought in this offseason. They made a trade for Jake Berger. I still think he's a good major league bat. Eventually, this year was an absolute travesty for him. It was just awful. He brought in Jock Peterson. That seemed like the safest bet, and he's been awful this year. Maybe he bounces back next year and doesn't have an 0 for 41 skid like he did this year. But I don't know if this is the end for Adolis Garcia. I don't know that it should be. I don't know that it shouldn't be. And I really don't envy the position Chris Young is in this offseason because he's going to have a lot of tough choices. And if Adolis should stay or if he should go, is going to be one of the toughest ones. No matter which way he goes, he's going to piss off a lot of this fan base. And I do not envy him because it is such an incredibly tough choice. That's going to do it for today's show. Thank y'all so much for listening and subscribing. And until next time, don't forget to enjoy baseball.